English 121, Day 13, Understanding Sources for Effective Research. From the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 523 to 527 and 553 to 557. To be an effective researcher, you need to understand the differences among many kinds of sources. Different sources are found through different kinds of searches. For any particular research question, some kinds of sources are more useful than others. Knowing the differences among kinds of sources speeds your learning of search strategies, making you a more sophisticated and efficient researcher. And knowing what kind of source something is helps you read it rhetorically. To be an effective researcher, you must analyze the rhetorical qualities of your sources the way you would any other text, particularly the genre, publisher, author, and angle of vision. The first distinction to consider is between books and periodicals. Books are published only one time, and they are only ever updated through the publication of additional volumes and editions. Periodicals, on the other hand, come out according to a regular schedule, perhaps weekly, monthly, or semi-annually. First, consider scholarly sources. Scholarly books have been peer-reviewed and are published by nonprofit academic presses simply for the purpose of disseminating scholarly research. Similarly, scholarly journals are academic, peer-reviewed, nonprofit publications subsidized by universities for also disseminating high-level research and scholarship. Both of these types of sources have been peer-reviewed. This is the process by which scholarly manuscripts get chosen for a publication, involving an independent review by experienced scholars who judge the rigor and accuracy of the research and the significance and value of the argument. See Table 20.1 in your text for a more in-depth look at the rhetorical qualities of various types of sources. In the distinction between books and periodicals, also consider for-profit publications like trade books and magazines. Trade books are published by for-profit presses with the intention of making money. Sometimes they're written by academics and experts. However, because they are for-profit, they are inherently biased. Public affair magazines, similarly, are published for-profit through sales and ad revenues and are typically aimed at upscale professionals dealing with social, cultural, economic, and political issues. Also consider other types of magazines and periodicals, including trade magazines. These are published for profit through sales and ad revenues and typically focus on a particular profession or trade. Also consider news magazines. These are published for profit through sales and ad revenues and typically come out bi-weekly or weekly, focusing on national news and issues. Also consider popular magazines. These are also published for profit and focus on special interests of a target audience. Finally, analyze the rhetorical qualities of websites. These are often published for profit through ad revenues, and they may be unedited or unreliable. Be very discerning in your use of websites as sources. As you're researching, you must understand the advantages and disadvantages of different kinds of sources. Why do you think Wikipedia might not be a good source of information? When considering print versus electronic sources, understand that print sources have stable content, which is a plus. They generally go through an extensive editorial review process. That's another plus. However, they cost a lot of money to produce, and so sometimes it will take too long or be too expensive to publish some information that may very well be valid or worth considering by the readers. Electronic material, on the other hand, are increasingly popular as more and more print material is showing up in electronic form. So now most of what you can retrieve from a computer was originally published in print. And this has pros and cons because it's more accessible, but at the same time it is going to lose some of the original rhetorical clues that it might have had when it appeared in context. Just be sure that if you download print material from an unfamiliar periodical, you might lose important contextual clues about the author's purpose and angle of vision. Consider these differences as you're researching so that you can find the most effective sources for your research process.